A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, it is a period of moral superiority and decay. Two young men, highly educated and wealthy, with everything in the world they need to succeed, arrange for the ultimate fatal test of their abilities, spurred on by the works of Nietzsche. The only person who can possibly match them may be the very man who unknowingly set them on this murderous course of action in the first place. Rope contains depictions of murder and discussions thereof that get kind of eugenicsy and is a Hays Code era film dealing with barely subtextual homosexuality. Please proceed according to your needs and comfort level. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views expressed therein are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of their employers. Hello there, and welcome back to 6 Degrees of Star Wars, the podcast where we explore all the ways George Lucas's flagship franchise surrounds us, binds us, and penetrates us in the landscape of cinema. I'm your host, Sam Marchioni. Joining me today is Gillian Quigley.
Is he, a chicken strangler?
Leaf Bradshaw.
Murdering this guy. It's a bad idea, right? Murdering this guy? Fuck it, it's fine.
And my partner, B. Dye.
More like chicken choking, if you know what I mean.
Jesus.
So, for whatever reason, when I decided to do a gay pride episode, we got Dracula's daughter as a degree 6, and it's like, Hays Code takes out the lesbian of the lesbian vampire movie. And now we're trying to do Gay Wrath Month, and we have a Be Gay Do Crimes movie where they had to remove the gay so much that to the end of his life, Arthur Laurents was like, I don't think Jimmy Stewart knew his character was gay. It's Alfred Hitchcock's 1948 Rope.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, I was very happy to finally watch this.
Greetings, I am IER60, Star Wars Retelling Connections. Point of intersection found. This is a degree 6. Farley Granger was in The Next Big Thing with Callum Green, who was in The Rise of Skywalker. Additional source material found. This is a retelling of the play Rope by Patrick Hamilton. For additional connections, check out 6 Degrees of Star Wars at tumblr.com/sibling blogs.
Hitchcock's actually a director I don't have much familiarity with. Like, I know him mostly by reputation, and I'm not sure that I'm impressed, gang.
I will say that this is, in many respects, a pretty prototypical Hitchcock film in a lot of respects. Many of his tropes are in here. Not every single one, but as someone who has, in fact, seen several of his movies, this is, oddly enough, gimmick aside, probably the most normal movie I have seen Hitchcock make.
I've only seen this. This was my first one, Psycho, Rear Window. So that is, like, pretty much,
Oh, Rear Window's a masterpiece, if you
It
ask
is a
me. That's my
masterpiece.
personal favorite of his.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that at least one technique he uses in this movie he also uses in Rebecca, but that's because I religiously watched Dom Noble's Lost in Adaptation for many, many years.
Perfect.
But, what the fuck do you mean Jimmy Stewart didn't know that this shit was gay? The opening scene of this movie is so fucking gay.
Right? Like, for perspective, I am such a pleb that I haven't even properly delved into all of the findings of the celluloid closet, and yet watching this movie for the first time, seeing these two guys interacting the way that they do, I was immediately just like, you are in no way just close friends.
Exactly. That's the first thing I thought. As soon as that scene happened, I was like, oh, you guys are hella gay. So
Fellas,
gay.
is it gay to talk about killing a man while you're 2 inches away from his face?
yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I find it very hard to argue otherwise, personally, and not to mention, my goodness, the chemistry between those two. That is one of the most steamy, toxic codependencies I've seen in cinema in a while.
And I'm not gonna go full, he is not the love of your life, he is literally just a guy, because honestly, these two kinda deserve each other.
Unfortunately.
That is the codependent part of the codependent. Toxic codependent yaoi, that is.
These two crawled so Billy Loomis and Stu Macher could run.
There it is.
I mean, just the wittiness that we get with many of the interactions we get in this movie, in my opinion, is an awful lot of fun. It's very much the kind of dry wit that I associate with a lot of quote-unquote prestige dramas of this time period, transatlantic accent and all. So
Yeah.
I had a good time with a lot of this.
And also the feeling of stage play mixed stagey play, the play.
Oh yeah, and this one goes hard on that front. If any of you've seen the 2013 movie Birdman, you'll definitely sense a certain, at least on the surface, similarity going on in terms of the cinematography and editing choices here. This is going out of its way to feel like you're watching a play, and therefore you get a lot of tricks being used to create the illusion that there aren't any cuts when there are in fact quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
And the occasional continuity error. Like, I don't want to be like the actually person, but did anybody else notice that, which one is he? Philip had that whole thing of like, he broke a glass and his hand was bleeding, and then suddenly his hand wasn't bleeding anymore, and it like never got brought up again. Like, we had that whole scene of, what's her face, Mrs. Atwater, looking at his hands and going full astrology girly on him, and I'm like, What happened to your hand? Why is it no longer bleeding?
Oh, no, I didn't even catch that, because this is also my first time seeing it, so I was just engrossed in the story. I didn't even really realize that.
I have not seen it since 7th grade, so I was also equally impressed and locked in.
I don't know. I have enough experience with cutting my hands and fingers in places that I can believe the bleeding stopped that fast. But it was a little strange that it wasn't brought up again afterwards.
Yeah, but then again, Mrs. Atwater is just, like, messy, and I kind of love it.
Oh, yeah. She was up there as a personal favorite character. It's hard to pick a favorite from amongst them, quite frankly. These were just entertaining characters all around in one way or another. To me, the biggest continuity error that I did notice between cutting moments was it seemed like the angle at which Jimmy Stewart's character was standing in the doorframe handling the desserts changed between using the back of someone's coat to mask a cut. It seemed like he was standing in an entirely different part of the room between those cuts, and
that and was the changes in the sound mix didn't help either.
Oh yeah, like you can figure out where the cuts happen. It's not too difficult to figure out where they occurred, but at the same time, I still can't help but marvel at how much planning had to have gone into it all the same. And I think I just also like looking at movies that remind me of there being a time when movie actors had to actually memorize their lines to get a scene done correctly, which, go figure, many of these movie actors were also theater actors. In fact, the majority of the cast were predominantly theater actors, and it shows. So therefore, you get to better appreciate the fact that, oh, you actually had to think about the overall context of the scene, not just the one line at a time during shot, reverse shot, and there's a cue card behind the camera.
Yeah, the one thing I will say, like, it did annoy me whenever we would have, like, a long take resting on somebody's face, and then the person who's talking is off camera, and often that person talking would be James Stewart, and goddamn, James Stewart is a compelling fucking presence.
He really is. I wonder how often that was done to accommodate the fact that he was the one movie star in the cast and not as much of an experienced theater actor, so that was to mask the fact that he had better odds of flubbing a line, potentially? I don't know. Because he is a very compelling presence here, and considering that this was allegedly one of the most stressful film shoots he was ever on, I'm kind of impressed that in spite of that, he was still willing to work for Hitchcock a few more times after this, because this was a whole decade before Vertigo, for instance.
And Rear Window, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Holy shit.
But yeah, compelling's a good word for him, because I mean, I don't know how much we want to bring about the final resolution yet, but the arc that he goes through alone.
that final, like, I don't want to say monologue because he did get interrupted a couple of times, but that final speech that he gives, just, he has a moment with his eyebrows and his face, like, you can see everything on it. I'm like, slow clapping it out. God damn.
Yeah, he basically realized that he accidentally did a stochastic terrorism, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Do as I say, not as I do, guys. That is
Yeah, because we have an earlier conversation where we get it revealed that he put the idea into these two guys' heads, the concept, the Nietzschean concept of the Übermensch, and they basically used it to excuse the idea that we are therefore the superiors, and therefore it's just a game to commit the perfect crime to demonstrate how intellectually superior that we are. And he sees the result and it's like, holy shit, I didn't think you would actually do something like that from this philosophy.
Your Honor, it was a bit.
My eugenics proposal was completely hypothetical.
Literally, like, you have the dad of the victim a couple of times pointing out, and who are you to decide that you are the superiors? And also, you know who also agreed with this philosophy? Hitler.
And they did bring it up.
Godwin.
They did bring up the Superman and the Übermensch and Hitler.
We can also take this moment to note that this is kind of based on an IRL thing. If you are not familiar with the murder of Bobby Franks and the subsequent sentencing of his killers, Richard Loeb and Nathan Leopold, there's a whole Legal Eagle video on it. There are also like a bajillion other movies about it, including this one, and like, I don't know, guys, I don't think this is quite what we meant by be gay, do crimes. Especially in this movie, because they are bad at being gay and bad at doing crime.
Seriously. I mean, they deserve each other, but only because they are not in a good place mentally, either of them. And for noticeably different reasons. That is also something I appreciate. Every character in this movie, they have distinct personalities, and you really do get a sense of who they are as the story progresses.
Yep.
Also, like, I can't take him seriously. His name is Brandon.
What is it with Brandons?
I've met smarmy Brandons in the past. It is.
He does kind of have the energy of a Brandon, though. Like, if you made this movie again today, like, I think that Brandon, the character, would probably be saying that you could use AI to determine who should be murdered for the good of society.
Yeah, I can believe that easily.
Fuck, he really would, too.
Oh.
Man.
And this is why it shouldn't be remade, because that guy would be a Redditor, and we do not.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? He'd be a 4chaner.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's too mean, but I'm probably
No,
too
that's
mean.
fucking perfect for him. He would be a 4chaner. Like, oh my god.
It would certainly explain how he can miss such obvious things. Like, okay, let's go around. What was the most aggravating, how did you miss that for you guys? Because I think mine was the hat. You didn't get rid of his hat.
Yeah. No, it was definitely the hat for me.
Yeah, the fact that that's the catalyst for Jimmy Stewart's character, Rupert, to finally start cluing in on something is not right here. Because here's the hat with his initials on here. If he's not here, wouldn't he have gone out with this hat on?
That's why we should bring back wearing hats. People should wear hats in polite society.
I have a whole collection of them.
I don't want to be one of those, oh, the good old days were better. No, fuck it, they weren't. But also, it was kind of nice when there was like a certain level of effort that went into clothes instead of just like, oh, I'm gonna walk outside in my sports bra and my yoga pants and stuff. And like, all the power to you if you do that, but also like, I wish we could have more license to be fancy. I want to go outside wearing a cape and a swirly skirt and looking like a princess, damn it!
Yeah, hey, I mean, I'm not judging casual, but man, it's so strange to see a movie where the setting is, supposed to be just a casual party in some penthouse apartment in New York, but everyone's dressed like it's some sort of Met Gala, I swear. Like, I am not used to two grown men going for planning a casual get-together event all dressed up in black and white. And you just in that dress I like. But, like, the suit and tie combo they've got is just wow, I am not used to grown men dressing like that for even formal occasions anymore, and there's something oddly hot about that in a strange way.
Love a suit.
Yeah.
Love a guy who carries himself with the confidence of getting away with murder despite sloppily disposing evidence.
Oh my god, all of it was so sloppy!
And the fact that he had to lean in on it at one point, though, by literally using the rope that they used to strangle him as a binding for a pile of books.
At this point, I'm surprised that the gloves they put in the drawer didn't end up coming back to bite them.
Seriously. They're just like, he was tempting fate. It was almost like a desperate cry for help. It's like, do you want to get caught? Is this a cry for attention?
I'd say, yeah, cry for attention is like, hey, we're smart enough to get away with it. Is anyone in this room smart enough to figure it out?
I mean, there is a little bit of that going on with the way that especially Brandon was practically goading Rupert to find him out a couple of times.
Cat and mouse.
Goading Rupert, and also the whole thing with Janet and Kenneth.
Who's the cat and who's the mouse?
Oh yeah, like that. That was evil. Knowing the context of that, it's just like, oh, not only did you murder her boyfriend, but also you're basically insinuating that you want to set up her with her old ex. And you can tell neither of them are that comfortable about that.
No, that's a fucked up wingman right there. Like, what the fuck, man?
And, like, waggling your eyebrows and announcing it, like, oh, I think you might have a chance with her now. Wink, wink.
Oh my god. I mean,
Kenneth.
by today's standards, there's actually some decent subtlety going on here with the hints that are dropped here, but oh my god, for 1948, this movie is practically screaming at you what they are doing.
Yeah, I was doing this. I was screaming like, how are none of you noticing this?
I mean, I appreciate that one of the first to notice something was wrong was Janet. I mean, that is something that makes this film oddly progressive for its time period. For all that we can say about Hitchcock not being the nicest to women, he at least never writes women who are dumb.
Up. Let's not give Hitchcock the credit for the writing. The writing goes to Arthur Laurents, also known as the playwright / librettist of West Side Story, and the lover of one of the actors on that Farley Granger who plays Philip. They were smushing.
Good for
They
them.
were banging it out.
Which, honestly, I feel like that explains why Janet is, in fact, one of the most proactively intelligent female leads I've come across in a Hitchcock movie. Go figure. Arthur Laurents has got more of a sense about that, I suppose. Because, yeah, I really liked her character. She was very witty and very smart.
I can't attest to the original writer, Hume Cronin. What kind of England? Why is England?
Yeah, he was an actor primarily, but sometimes a playwright.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, no, he's not in England, he's a Canada. Canada! Why Canada?
Close enough.
Hey, don't blame me. I don't have the most ordinary name either, but that's only to tie into the fact that I have a Danish background.
Yeah.
You know, I think Janet quickly became a favorite as soon as she showed up because I just enjoy that kind of dry wit character that we got. The fact that she makes such delightful self-deprecating comments about her own ability to have a sense of humor and in the process ends up being the funniest character in the whole thing.
She's just like me for real, honestly.
Yeah, she had me cackling a couple of times.
So what you're saying is we need to do a reading of this play where you play Janet.
Oh, that would be nice. Billy, if you're listening, or at least the screenplay. There's some good-ass stage directions.
I did take a moment to take a look. Apparently, a dead body does not start to smell until, like, the first 24 hours or so have gone by. And unless, like, you've stabbed them and then there'd just be the smell of blood. So they did remember that and choose to do the strangling thing instead. But then after that, every decision was just so wrong, which is also true of how Loeb and Leopold did everything, but goddamn.
Yeah, I was definitely amused by just all of the tricks that were used to make you wonder, oh, is this where they're going to be found? Oh, no, is this where they're going to be? Because that's the thing, I didn't know enough about the plot to know exactly when it was going to happen, and like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure, a textbook example of many Hitchcockian tropes, and the big one, I'm sure many of you are familiar with this one, is the way Hitchcock talks about the significance of suspense versus startling somebody with information using
Yeah.
a bomb going off as an example. Having a bomb suddenly go off versus showing that there's a bomb that's going to go off in a few minutes without the characters knowing.
Yeah. And the scene where the maid, the housekeeper, Mrs. Wilson, is slowly clearing everything off the cassone, that is a great, great version of this. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I appreciate that greatly. Unfortunately, a bit of wisdom that I know from Hitchcock that I like significantly less because it comes tied up in a traumatic memory. I had a very terrible theater teacher, specifically a theater history teacher, who taught a class twice a week. It was 90 minutes, and he loved to pull out Hitchcock's statement that the length of a film should be in direct relation to the endurance of the human bladder, which is to say, you will not leave this classroom for the next 90 minutes.
So you're suggesting all movies need to be only 25 minutes then, from my point of view. I'm a professional singer. I have to drink all the time.
Yeah, and I'm like, my dude, some of us got IBS. Some of us got a period in the middle of your movie and need to go stick a tampon up our cooch. Give us a break.
And for some of us, again, we sing professionally and have to drink water constantly and therefore are basically racehorses, if you catch my drift.
Also, to everybody listening to this podcast right now, go have some water. I don't care if you just had water, go have some water. Don't take the water from on top of that fancy Italian chest over there. Just ignore that. Ignore that.
Hydrate, don't dihydrate.
Heat wave! Yeah. This is my island. Is this?
We in the Pacific Northwest have been very lucky so far. We are certainly getting warmer, but we aren't getting hit as hard as the rest of the continent, and I know the rest of y'all are probably hating us for that right now.
No, I'm just waiting for you to fucking jinx yourself.
I probably just did by saying this, so there you go. Job well done.
Knock on wood. Hopefully. It is an inevitability, but also I hope it's not inevitable soon.
What I also loved about the suspense of that clearing of the equipment from the party was also, shortly after that, we also get very nearly lifting the lid, and somehow nobody actually sees anything. That actually got me going, whoa, for a second.
Yeah, and it's like, how did you not consider this? Like, to be clear, knowing, I don't even have words for it at this point. Like, knowing the tropes will not save you is not this. I'm just like, the suspense is there, but for me, the suspense is one of aggravation more than fear. I'm like, how are none of you seeing this?
Yeah. I wonder if that was on purpose for this movie, though.
From a certain point of view, it is, I say it's more closer to the ticking time bomb from my end of like, when's it gonna happen? When's somebody gonna say something? That tension is thick. I'm not just talking about any interaction between Brandon and Philip, or Brandon and Kenneth, or Brandon and Rupert, or Philip and Rupert, or...
So yeah, really, they could have gotten away with this if Brandon had just shut the fuck up.
Probably.
Yeah, he had to talk about the damn chickens. And
and the fact that that's one of the few hard cuts that are not missable is after we get the "that's a lie" and then cut to Jimmy Stewart's face. Like, that's one of the few times where the film doesn't try to hide the cut, and it's extra effective that way, in my view.
Also, back with the Ubermensch, the way that it is sort of coding that they see. I know we were talking about the dead guy. We were talking about him. We've said his name. It lost me. David, yes. Thank you. That David is to an animal, like, he's likened to an animal, as opposed to real men who aren't easily slaughterable.
Listen, I love shitting on Harvard students as much as the next person, but come on.
Yeah.
Anti-intellectualism is cancer. Anyway.
Love the cityscapes. Love a matte painting. Love several matte paintings.
Oh yeah, that was apparently one of the most elaborate cycloramas ever made for a movie up until that point.
Love
because
a cyclorama.
As you can see, there's like smoke coming out of chimneys seemingly in that background, and you gradually see lights coming on as night goes on.
The lighting in the last section, or at least the last scene, like the little bits of reds and greens that you get from the
Big honkin' neon sign.
big honkin' neons.
I was waiting for that neon sign to start lighting up and blinking.
And were you satisfied when it did?
Most definitely.
Excellent. I want to circle back a little bit to Janet, because goddamn is she messy. She dated at least 3 members of this friend group.
I did get Exes with tension vibes between Brandon and Janet, so.
Yeah, if Philip and Brandon weren't so fucking gay for each other, I would have thought this was all about her.
Yeah, like, from a more heteronormative perspective, I could easily imagine this being like some fucked up elaborate scheme for one of the two to get back with her or something.
And, like, frame Kenneth for it or some shit.
Yeah, like, if this was like a hetero incel plan of some sort, I could imagine easily it playing out like that.
I showed you this rope. Please respond.
God damn.
God.
I still can't get over the fact that he just had to use that rope over the books, thinking that somehow, Philip wouldn't, just get so tense over seeing that.
And he was already tense about it, like, poking out of the table earlier, so.
It's like, oh, don't worry about it. It's easily yanked out.
Insult to injury. Brandon being a little bitch and thinking he's better than everybody and playing with his food and playing with his accomplice, or toying with his or at least, yeah.
Something that's actually really cool, the Wikipedia page actually specifically gives the time codes for when the cuts happen.
Yeah, there's a total of 10 shots, not including the background footage for the opening credits.
Mm-hmm. I'm honestly shocked, given the Hays Code of it all, that the whole tussle over the gun did not end up with either Brandon or Philip getting shot, because, like, part of the Hays Code is that you can't show sexual deviance, which includes homosexuality, unless there is an appropriate punishment for it. And yes, summoning the cops on them does count in that respect, but, like, you would have thought that they would go all the way to burying the gay. Now, burying the gays feels like the wrong trope terminology here.
But you would think at least one of them would die, considering that there is quite literally Chekhov's gun in this.
And where would you bury them? The trunk's already occupied unless you want 2 bodies in there.
I mean, yeah, it is impressive the Hays Code was so accepting of just how many now kiss facial closeness there was in this movie. It's like, there's quite a few things where it's just like, I get that the Hays Code was very, over the top, shall we say, with the stuff that it wouldn't allow in movies, but sometimes I'll see some things in movies that came out during the enforcement years of the Hays Code, and I'm like, how did this get past the censors? And there were quite a few in this one, for sure.
Honestly, I was expecting Brandon to get shot in the end of that.
He had it coming!
Yeah, I was expecting him to get shot, and then Philip to just break down and be like, we fucking killed this guy.
Hey, if you'd have been there, if you'd have heard it, I betcha you would have done the same.
Pop, squish, 6.
It doesn't even have to have been a fatal shot. You could have shot him in the arm, or the leg, or the hand, or, I don't know, maybe the dick.
That would have been some symbolism right there. Go hateful eight on him.
Oh, shit.
I mean, I'm impressed at how much blood is still shown in this movie. Yeah, it's not a lot, but the fact that it's shown at all, because I'm pretty sure this was still when it was super taboo to show blood at all in a movie, so I'm impressed, quite frankly.
Right, and Psycho lowered that taboo.
It's okay, it was just chocolate syrup.
It was just chocolate syrup. Corn syrup. Same stuff they used in Care.
I'm still, like, kind of turning Hitchcock over in my mind, because, you know, Hitchcock's one of those directors who, like, you hear about him and he's in the pantheon, he is one of the auteurs or whatever, and then you kind of are like, that was it? I also had this reaction to The Godfather, to be clear, so maybe it's just that I don't like self-important white guy movies, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what the fuck I do like, and if there's any self-important white guy, it's George Lucas, and we all know I have dedicated a significant portion of my life to George Lucas's magnum opus.
Yeah. I wonder how much it also just has to do with the fact that, you know, prestige dramas aren't necessarily for everybody, and that's okay. But there's also the fact that with so many decades of hindsight on a lot of these highly lauded auteur magnum opus pieces, it's easy to forget that many of the stuff that those movies were doing, a lot of that was novel at the time, even if nowadays it doesn't seem novel at all anymore. It's like, the obvious example is if you watch Citizen Kane and you're expecting this, absolutely perfect, mind-altering movie that'll completely change the way you think about cinema, chances are you might actually be a little disappointed, because technically what that movie did, lots of movies have since done. So you kind of also have to put it in the context of, right, a lot of the techniques this movie was doing were very novel at the time, and that is why people raved about it for so long. Even if, in the case of Citizen Kane, over 80 years later, what it did might not seem all that special anymore.
I mean, the thing is, in this movie's case, it wasn't actually, like, that big of an impact, or at least not, like, in that way. Reviews were kind of mixed, and audiences were uncomfortable because they could kind of tell gay, but they couldn't really say it.
Oh yeah, Arthur Laurents straight up said a big reason why this movie was a box office disappointment was almost certainly because some people were uncomfortable with the gay. And yet, nonetheless, I think a reason why this one sticks around for a while is because, to be fair, the gimmick that the film utilizes in terms of cinematography and editing is not used that often, for good reason, to be fair, but it is really impressive that it was done as well as it was done in this film, and it did pave the way for later movies to do a better version of the same trick. Like I said, 2013's Birdman is one of the more recent, obvious examples you can point to of a film that is literally about a stage play and goes out of its way to present itself in a stage play fashion, in the sense that it does everything in its power to mask wherever there are any cuts. And often to really effective extent.
Yeah. Even Hitchcock was, like, referencing back to this. Like, I mentioned Dom Noble, he was talking specifically about the Rebecca adaptation that Hitchcock did and how they depicted Maxim de Winter explaining what happened with Rebecca in the cabin. And that basically was also done in this movie. The whole idea of, like, talking through, if I did it, this is how I would have done it, and tracing the pathway through the room of how we killed David until we basically reach the starting point of the movie.
Yeah, give it the Telltale Heart approach, basically.
Although Rebecca was a full 8 years before this, so I think Hitchcock might have just really liked that trick.
It's a good trick.
I know time, shut up!
It's a good gimmick. And quoting Arthur Laurents, no, technically not Arthur Laurents, but it's tangentially related to Arthur Laurents. You gotta get a gimmick if you want to get ahead.
True.
Do something
the one
special.
Hitchcockian gimmick I was impressed to see the absence of was Janet wasn't blonde.
Yeah.
There's actually a really good Be Kind Rewind video talking about the difference in when Hitchcock uses blondes versus using brunettes.
I need to check that one out. I like that channel.
Oh, same.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's been like a year since I last watched that video, so I did not internalize what it was, but basically, like...
While Hitchcock tends to portray his blondes as unknowable or mysterious, and therefore intriguing, his brunettes often make themselves entirely available, and therefore sexually uninteresting to his male protagonists.
There we go. Because Janet definitely seems pretty grounded compared to quite a lot of other leads I can think of in Hitchcock films who are women, though I can think of a noteworthy exception on that front too. I always felt like Grace Kelly's character in Rear Window was a very grounded character in a lot of respects, because she had the advantage of pointing out certain things that didn't add up in a way that the average straight guy just wouldn't get.
When you say straight guy...
I'm referring to straights.
As in heterosexual?
Yes.
Okay.
Those filthy, filthy heterosexuals.
Can the heteroids just not? Anyway.
Also, I hereby petition that we cross out murder, arson, and jaywalking as the trope name and instead go with poverty, unemployment, and standing in line for theater tickets.
Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, what's nice about going to the cinema is because since so few people are going to them these days, because of the exorbitant prices, it means if you do go, you can get away with going late, because not only is there assigned seating now, but you can deliberately time your entrance where that you get your concession stuff during the time that the previews and the ads are going.
30
so you miss
minutes
them.
of previews!
Exactly.
But what if you want to see Maria Menounos? What if you want to see the Nicole Kidman ad or Maria Menounos?
I don't want to see the Nicole Kidman ad if they're not going to show me the full Nicole Kidman ad.
Fair
she
enough.
doesn't always say somehow heartbreak feels good in a place like this every time now.
What a
I
travesty.
want it back. But also, I will point out, there is still a way that standing in line for theater tickets is the worst, and its name is Ticketmaster.
True.
Yep. I had to deal with them earlier this year to get a concert ticket, and boy, was that credit card bill a whopper. First time I was in the red in over a decade. Meanwhile, this was back when you could still get tickets for under $1.
Yeah, and we could go see that musical of What's Her Name with the face.
Oh my god.
That entire
running
exchange
gag.
is just me trying to figure out what movie my parents are talking about.
I love that running gag. The something of with the something, starring What's-Her-Face.
Or is it just something?
Yeah, that was
Also,
a
the
running
moment
gag.
when they were talking about, like, how Errol Flynn and Cary Grant were super cute, and I'm like, somebody say Jimmy Stewart, somebody bring up Jimmy Stewart. Break the fourth wall, I fucking dare you.
I just loved how his character, how Rupert is heralded in by piano music diegetically, and he doesn't even make a grand entrance. We just pan out, the camera just pulls back, and there he is standing in the door frame. I thought that was glorious.
Yeah, because, he just... You know what? I have no evidence to suggest that doesn't naturally happen when Jimmy Stewart walked into a room.
I mean, he did have quite the aura about him, for sure.
He did.
Love a man who composes himself in such a way that he's not faking his confidence. This is a man who actually knows what he's talking about.
And like, I kind of knew it was coming, but man, I love the buildup of, he's coming back, apparently he left behind his cigarette case, and then we straight up show, no he didn't, he just needed an excuse to come back because he knew something was wrong.
I fucking cackled when I saw him fucking pull that case out. I'm like, oh, you bastard, I fucking knew it. I knew it.
Do you think that was the fact that it was a cigarette case was intentional, given what cigarettes can also be called?
Maybe?
I think so.
Oh.
It's plausibly deniable.
I mean, come on.
I'm
Fucking Hitchcock is English. Like, come on.
I'm not gonna use the word, listeners, but it starts with an F. Just look it up.
Yep. I mean, that term was more used in the UK than the US, but nonetheless, yeah, now that you mention it, oof, I wonder if that might have been deliberate. I don't know.
So.
Would Arthur Laurents have willingly put symbolism like that into that adaptation script? I do wonder.
I mean, considering what he left in...
Yeah, possibly. Because, yeah, like, I am still reeling at the fact that 9 years later, this same writer will be responsible for the playbook for West Side Story. That's pretty awesome to me.
Oh, hell yeah. Of course.
Yeah, but, like, to pull from my notes briefly, I don't take timestamps on my notes, but I had, like, a string of notes which I shall read to you. Did they really not consider the fact that people care about their victim? Seriously, how are you this sloppy? Kiss!
They did get really close to each other a couple of times, didn't they?
Oh my god!
And also
Just fucking kiss!
Also, Brandon going to get a cigarette after killing David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That word I'm not going to say.
Yeah, like, wow, that sure was one good murder, wasn't it?
Was it good for you? 'Cause it sucked for me. Philip, probably.
I mean, that does sort of happen between the two of them after the party guests leave. Oh, it was great for you. It was a crummy night for me.
The way he was talking about how it was exhilarating, I'm like, you busted in your pants while you did it, didn't you?
That was the pull quote from not the pull quote, but the clip that they showed in the celluloid closet or at least one of them, to highlight the, hey, this is what got past the censors.
It's like, you definitely, like, just yourself doing it, dude. I know you did. Like, there's no way that you're describing it like that and you didn't bust off.
You know who would have loved this movie?
Ellie?
Oscar Wilde.
Yes, he would have.
Yes, he
Probably.
definitely would have.
Probably. I still can't get over the fact that, yeah, you mentioned the whole sociopathy of, do you not realize that other people would care about this person? I don't think he would understand that because he's gone so far down the rabbit hole of taking way too much to heart about Nietzschean philosophy in the worst possible way. So, he's a sociopath.
Enlightened men don't care about people. That makes them beta male. Insert
Oh,
other
God,
terminology that I don't understand.
I know you're joking, but even hearing you say it is unsettling.
I'm sorry.
Tiny bit.
Dudes will literally strangle one of their friends to death before going to therapy. That should be the tagline of this movie, quite frankly.
Well, I mean, back in this point, like, therapy was not really a thing, like, at all.
True, L. Ron Hubbard hadn't started writing books yet about how evil it was.
I feel like somebody name-dropped Freud, but I can't remember whether or not, but...
They did.
Yeah, Freud is mentioned.
Freud has been mentioned, yes.
Yeah.
Sigmund.
If I had a nickel for every degree 6 that we in recent memory that was mentioned Freud...
Take your nickels and get out!
Okay!
Jeez, what is all this anger about?
But also the fact that, like, in the thought experiment where Rupert is basically proposing the purge, the fact that he has these specific kinds of murder that can only be done to certain kinds of people. I'm like, how much thought did you put into this, Rupert? Maybe we should be concerned about you too. And then the final scene happens. I'm like, oh, no, okay, we're good. Rupert's fine.
At least he owns up that even though, yes, he wasn't the one who killed David, he is still aware that, to a degree, this was his fault, because he put these toxic ideas into Brandon's head.
Yeah. Which I think could also be meant as, like, some subtext of, like, seeing the bad gay and realizing, oh god, am I this kind of gay? No, I am not this kind of gay.
Yeah, because I do feel a lot more sympathy in comparison for Philip, even though Philip was absolutely complicit.
Yeah, no, I don't have any sympathy for Philip. If Philip were at all a sympathetic character, he would have confessed.
Yeah, that's why he still needs to be punished narratively, because, again, he was still complicit. Just because he has enough of a guilty conscience that he is noticeably sweating and fidgeting about it the entire time, because he knows what they did was wrong, it doesn't change the fact that he also doesn't have much of a spine, because he doesn't confess. Even during the point that would theoretically be a confession, he just slams his glass on the ground, shattering it, saying, "I'm fed up with your cat and mouse game." But he doesn't outright say, I did it, or
who's the cat, who's the mouse?
Exactly. As opposed to, I confess, he's under the floorboards. It's the beating of the hideous heart. Or whatever.
Edgar.
Or my version of it, it's the squeaking of the hideous boots.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Je ne comprends pas.
That was from an episode of SpongeBob where Mr. Krabs hid a pair of squeaky boots under the floorboards to get them away from SpongeBob. But his guilt got the better of him, so we had a Telltale Heart-style confession out of him.
As opposed to the telltale heart of it all with the food inspector.
Yes!
God, SpongeBob is such a weird show.
Isn't it ever? But anyway. Oh yeah, speaking of food. Yeah, I was definitely feeling a lot for the housemaid as well, because I would also be kind of upset if I had set up an entire dinner party with the expectation of everything being set up on a much larger surface area than what the patrons are now insisting everything has to be put on. It's just like, I can't fit all of this onto there. What are you talking about? My heart went out to her, man.
We were just watching Miss Juneteenth and talking about, like, oh, this whole thing about, like, your salad fork and your oyster fork and whatever and all of that. 1948 would have been a time when that was still a thing. She had so much silverware probably set out.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, their logic doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yep, but it's unfortunately not in her place. to voice suspicion about it to them directly, so she saves it for when it's time to talk to Rupert or to other folks.
Mrs. Wilson, may I introduce you to seizing the means of production?
Couldn't be a bad idea. I mean, this came out the year that Dewey beat Truman, according to the newspaper headlines, which totally was what happened.
May I introduce you to the idea of kicking that motherfucker in the shins?
Being lovely.
Maybe put a little arsenic into his coffee or some shit.
Or shanking him in his sleep.
I mean, he desegregated the military, but that really says something when that's...
Oh, no, I'm talking about Brandon. I'm talking about Brandon. We don't have time to unpack my feelings on Truman.
Yeah, same here.
Fair enough. Mixed legacy as always with those guys. But yeah, with Brandon, my god, like, the hubris of this guy was just unbearable sometimes. In a good way, in my view, but my goodness, I was so ready for that smarmy ass to be knocked down so many pegs.
He's the fucking worst, man. He's the worst. I don't know who's worse, him or fucking Garth from Dracula's Daughter.
Him.
Him.
Yeah.
But
Take
you
your
know
word
what?
for it.
If he wants to take a swing at Garth and Garth takes a swing at him, I say let him. We'll send him to Garth for psychoanalysis, and Garth can make his head explode. There, I solved it.
Ooh.
Yes, you did.
Just like the one image from the movie Scanners everyone recognizes.
Yes.
Oh, Cronenberg. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, I still am having a tough time getting past the fact that there's just as much in this movie as there was for a film in 1948, bearing in mind Hays Code restrictions. Like, that is what really sends me reeling in so many respects, is the fact that there just is any presence whatsoever of gore, even if it's basically 2 quick moments where a hand is visibly bleeding. In the other case, Jimmy Stewart getting a bullet through his hand while trying to wrestle the gun from Philip. It's interesting as that's the most action-packed moment in the movie, technically, and yet it was not the most tense moment in its own way, simultaneously, paradoxically.
And honestly, kind of clumsily shot. I think they must have had to go in, like, full handheld, the way the camera was jostling about.
I think so, and this was when handheld cameras were practically an impossibility at the time, especially considering that this is the late 1940s, and this is cameras with the 3-strip Technicolor process. Those cameras were bulky and loud.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that definitely explains the jostling when they were doing the If I Did It, a one-man show by James Stewart, and we go up over the chair.
Behind-the-scenes exchange for that was, getting closer, getting closer. I'm trying not to drop this motherfucker on my foot.
Yeah, no, this was back when color photography was basically the IMAX of its day. You know, in the 1940s, yeah, filming in color with 3-strip Technicolor process, that would be like filming in IMAX in the 2000s. Way bulkier, way more expensive, you know, way more unwieldy than your average camera being used at the time, but it was fun to use because it also meant you could get imagery you otherwise couldn't, but it also meant you had a much bigger budget. Because it wasn't until, I think, midway through the 60s that the average cost of filming in black and white versus filming in color more or less finally got to even out. So, and again, this is the old school process. This is the 3-strip Technicolor process, which I wish I could explain in layman's terms how it worked. Just needless to say, it was complicated and time-consuming at the time. And again, expensive.
Yeah. Like, holy shit. It's a fucking nightmare to even, like, research that fucking process. I remember reading about it in film school. I'm like, what? Huh? Yeah.
I will take your word for it. Nerds.
We're talking about a movie from the 40s here. You think we're not colossal nerds?
Exactly.
We're talking about this movie because it's tangentially related to Star Wars. What made you think I didn't mean that as an own on myself as well?
Touché.
Fair enough.
Speaking of Star Wars, I believe the time has come to ask, is the Force with it?
Yes.
Yes.
I would definitely say yes.
I'm going to give it a soft no, because, like, Jimmy Stewart is the movie's saving grace for me, but the movie just aggravated me enough that I don't think I would enjoy watching this again, because I just want to skip to the final scene and the final monologue and whatnot. So
To
that's
each
where
their
I'm
own.
at.
You know what? That's fair.
To each their own. Personally, I would revisit this a few times, but then again, I do find myself quite a lot more fond of Hitchcock than a lot of my peers.
Yeah. I'm not saying I dislike it, but I don't like it either.
Yeah, that
Like,
makes sense.
I'm not sure. It might go on the cinematic Alfred list.
Hey, fair enough. I mean, I will even admit there are some films that many consider classics that I'm not crazy about either, but this is one that I'm glad that I finally got to properly watch from beginning to end. It's a good time, in my
Yeah.
opinion at least.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I wound up giving it like 5 stars on Letterboxd.
Well, I can't knock your taste because you're dating me.
Haha,
Taste-
you're trapped.
Yeah, I refuse to self-own that hard.
Hmm.
Who has pluggables?
I am Cutie Puppy Fire on the socials. Follow me if you haven't.
I am Drops of Jupiter 92 at BlueSky and B Targaryen at Letterboxd. That's all one word in lowercase.
And if you're interested in the fact that I am a professional singer, you can find me on Leaf Bradshaw Sings on Instagram, where hopefully eventually I'll start actually promoting myself there. I also do voice acting, where you can find me on Casting Call Club, and there's a bit of experience that I've got now as a voice actor that you can find on the internet every now and again. And also, I also attempt podcasting every now and again. If you look wherever pods are cast, you can find me as the host of the Disney Outlands, the podcast where we discuss feature films, short films, episodes, and specials produced by the Disney Company, yet not found on their major streaming platforms.
And in the spirit of Star Wars, to be there for the people who need us, this episode is spotlighting mutual aid disaster relief. With wildfires and smoke pollution raging in the north and flooding in the south, there seems to be more and more environmental disasters every day in the United States resulting from man-made climate change. Mutual Aid Disaster Relief is a national nonprofit network inspired by the Black Panthers survival programs and dedicated to supporting disaster survivors in a spirit of mutual aid and solidarity. You can learn more about them by visiting their website, which I'm providing in a link in the description below, as well as on my various socials at Demisem. Our theme music is provided by Refractory Period, the 2 girls, 1 beat synth pop sensation. You can follow them on Instagram at Refractory Period the band. To further support this podcast, please subscribe to us on your platform of choice, leave reviews, and share with your friends to boost our visibility, and consider joining Patreon. And now, it's time to turn to the Chance Cube to see where our journey takes us next. Before I roll the Chance Cube, Gillian, I have big news for you. It is time to turn in your stupid fucking rat tail. You are no longer a Padawan of the Order of 6 Degrees of Star Wars. You have been made a knight.
Hooray!
Congratulations on your 10th episode, and now I have to ask you, would you like to use your one chance to force a roll of the dice and pick the degree, but not the movie, that we next watch?
I'll abstain.
Courteously.
Yes.
All right, then.
Four.
It'd be a 4.
Ooh, we're going back to the Riz Ahmed well, everybody.
Woo!
Next time, please join us for Sound of Metal.
Ooh.
We'll see you then. Stay safe, stay strong, stay beautiful. May the Force be with you, and, be gay, do crimes.
But not those crimes.